My name's Jason Jarrod. I'm an exercise scientist and an exercise physiologist. Every injury is unique and every fitness goal is unique. Work with me and you'll get the professional direction you need with your situation. Welcome back. Are you glad to be here? Today I'll be talking about a personal story of pain and suffering. My pain and suffering. Pain and suffering because you haven't subscribed. Please hit the subscribe button. Like the video. Also, real pain and suffering because, as I've alluded to in past videos, I have a chronic lower back injury. Why do I have a chronic lower back injury? I'm an exercise physiologist. I'm meant to not have injuries. Well, it doesn't work like that. Often, your health professionals might be passionate about what they do because they had injuries and then pursued a career. And that's what happened with me. I had a weird little back injury. I'm not really sure, ever since I was a kid. My parents took me, I was like 8 years old, took me to a chiropractor and cracked it. And apparently that helped. I don't really recall. I remember going to someone for it, but I don't remember an adjustment. But apparently that happened. But, fast forward years later and in my 20s, I had some issues and essentially injured it quite badly. So, disc bulge, L5S1 disc bulge, just to diagnose, and not terribly bad chronic pain, but recurrent flare-ups over a 10-year period, which hit its apex really about 3 months ago after I moved to this delightful city, Melbourne. And that's not a coincidence. So, where to start? Chronic pain, chronic injuries often correlate with stressful times in our lives, with anxiety, with depression, with nutrition, with sleep habits, with exercise habits. Chronic pain and chronic injuries are part of your life. And I don't need to tell this to any of you guys who have chronic pain or chronic injuries. You know this. And in fact, many of you guys have already noticed that when you don't have a good night's sleep, how much worse is the pain? Doesn't it flare up? Now, isn't that weird? Why does it flare up when you haven't had a good night's sleep? Well, we'll get back to that because I was meant to be telling a story and now I'm telling another story. Happens a lot. So, I recently experienced the worst pain I've ever experienced in my life. So, I moved to Melbourne. Massive life change. Everything changed. Definitely pushed myself harder than I would recommend a client push themselves when doing exercise. I'd fallen off the wagon with my exercise after moving, of course. You go through a bit of adjustment moving cities and just went too hard too fast. Something I'm always telling my clients not to do, something I just made a video about. I use myself as a guinea pig frequently and I did it. I won't lie. I'm not proud of it. I'll just make a video and put it on YouTube about it, but I'm not proud of it. So I flared it up, doing too much exercise too quickly, too fast. What does that mean I flared it up? Well, I went to the gym. Next day, I couldn't walk. It was quite painful. In fact, it was so bad, I was getting muscle spasms in my lower back that on that pain scale that I've mentioned in the past, 0 to 10, how painful was it? 10. It's actually the most painful thing I've ever experienced, these muscle spasms. Never experienced anything like it, ever. I was actually doing the breathing technique that you see pregnant women do because it felt like what I imagine contractions must feel like. I was screaming in agony. I sounded like a woman about to give birth or in labor because it would come on in waves, these muscle contractions. And I couldn't walk. There was no walking. So getting to the bathroom to go to the toilet was hard enough. I had to crawl, and even crawling on my hands and knees, I could get a massive wave of these spasms that would last about 30 seconds 10 out of 10 pain before settling, but then I might get another wave a minute or two later. And this is often how it happens too when you have a pretty big flare-up. Pretty painful stuff, guys. Let me tell you, the most painful thing I've ever experienced. I was doing the whole breathing thing. I could feel when it was starting to tense. I was like, oh shit, here it comes. So partner took me to hospital, and in the ER, they took me through. The doctor starts palpating down my spine. I'm like, oh no, stop, because he's gentle, but he's gently pushing the muscles, and I knew what was going to happen if he poked down there, and he was going lower. I was like, no, and then he did it, and I was like, ah, and screaming, and he walked away. He's like, okay, get this guy some painkillers. So they dosed me up, sent me away with crutches, which were great because they create a bit of torsion on the spine and takes the pressure off a little bit, so you're less prone to getting those muscle spasms. Dosed me up and sent me away. So I get it. I've been through it, and it's not just a result of exercise exacerbating your injury. It's stress, it's life change, it's everything being out of control that contributes to your body not being able to handle what's going on. Unfortunately, many health professionals, including exercise physiologists, physiotherapists, and others, have focused way too much on just the movement part, which is important. I love it. It's what I do. But it's no way near the be-all and end-all. The anxiety, the mental component of what's going on in our lives has a way bigger impact on pain and our experience of pain and chronic injuries than we used to understand. Way bigger impact. So I became way more susceptible to a flare-up and aggravation of my old injury. Never had this type of aggravation before, but after a big move interstate, I overestimated my capacity. I did the same exercises I've always done, but guess what? Bang, massive flare-up. So if a client comes to me and they haven't worked out for a couple of weeks, but they went and just tried the same workout and had a massive issue with it, it caused a massive flare-up with their injury, why'd it happen? It doesn't mean they were using crap technique. It doesn't mean they necessarily did anything wrong. What it might mean is your immune system wasn't in a place to handle it. What happened 3 weeks ago when you had the flare-up? Oh, also, my father passed away. I've been managing his estate. Oh, and my partner had to start uni, so I've had to do all the blah, blah, blah. And oh, also this or that. I haven't been sleeping, had some... Oh, gee, well, you're stressed as heck and were wondering why you had a flare-up. Even though you did the same exercises, are we wondering why you had a flare-up? Guys, lifestyle is so much more important than we ever used to realize, and I will continue to bang on about this fact because health practitioners and still focus way too much on the movement aspect and not the lifestyle, because we can't control the lifestyle. But the good news is this: you can, to an extent. You can control it though. When you realize that lifestyle plays a big part in your chronic injury and chronic pain, that's empowering. That's a good thing. That means you have a lot more control than perhaps you've ever been led to believe. You don't need a spinal fusion. You don't necessarily need this or that surgery. You might first be best to get under control some life circumstances, or address your nutrition, or bring in exercise. So it's easy to feel broken. It is. It's disempowering. And really, I see it as my first job to empower you, to help you to feel like things are under control. It's scary and it sucks. And that's why I want to share this story with you, because it is so debilitating. And you could be laying there in bed incapacitated and thinking, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, I can't move. I can't even get to the bathroom. And you don't know how long it's going to last. And your pain or your injury might not be that bad, but it can be just as debilitating. You might think, is this ever going to go away? Is this pain ever going to decrease? Is anything ever going to change? I'm so depressed and like this is... And then what happens? You feel depressed, you feel anxious because you've had it for so long, so it starts to affect your life. It starts to affect your social life. It starts to affect your self-esteem. And it's a vicious circle. Anxiety and depression they almost always occur with chronic pain conditions. If someone tells me they've got chronic pain, I'll be like, okay, so you've also probably got depression and anxiety, and that's not calling into question the validity of their symptoms or anything, but of course you've got depression or anxiety. If you've got such a debilitating injury or disease, it's difficult. It's a real struggle, your day-to-day life, and your day-to-day life is really important. But you have a lot of control, and it really all starts up here with mindset. Mindset is so important. And I'm so on board with counselors and people in that type of profession who see clients and help them to change their mindset and turn their mindset around. There's only so much I can do with my clients here in clinic, but I try to do as much as I can, which is why our sessions always involve quite a bit of talking and not just exercise, because when it comes to lifestyle change and addressing those factors, the way you think about things is so important. And it's why I've discussed visualization strategies and motivation, because whether you've got an injury or not, it's all about the way you think about it. Change your mindset. How much negativity or anxiety or just negative thought traps are you bringing into your day-to-day life? To a very large extent, I think we have a lot of control over those things. Maybe it's just a matter of being given tools and being shown how to control them. It can be disempowering and scary to have an injury or an illness or not have our full faculties. But I just want to tell you, you have a lot more at your disposal than you might realize. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening to my story. And I'm really keen to hear your stories, guys. So please do comment. Feel free to reach out to me personally. Subscribe, like, let me know what you thought about this more impromptu type video from the heart. I'll be chatting with you soon.